Town-based Office of Astronomy for Development and the International Astronomical Union will be jointly awarded the prestigious Edinburgh Medal for 2016 for establishing the Office of Astronomy for Development in Cape Town. Govender is the first South African to receive this prestigious award for science and technology achievements which contribute to the understanding and well-being of humanity. Cabinet also commends 16-year-old ballet dancer Leroy Mukhatle, who won an Audience Favorite Award and the scholarship at the Prix de Lausanne International Ballet Competition in Switzerland. He is the first South African to win this scholarship in 28 years and the second in our country's history. Cabinet also joins President Zuma in applauding the winners of the second annual Ubuntu Awards. These awards recognize South African industry leaders and eminent persons for their contribution to promote our national interest and values across the globe. Cabinet congratulates flautist Wouter Kellerman and Capella Group Ladysmith Black Mambazo and gospel singer Neville Dean for their 2016 Grammy nominations. These South African artists are an inspiration and hold the South African flag high. Appointments. All appointments are subject to the verification of qualifications and relevant clearance. Lepelle Northern Water Board is going to be chaired by His Majesty Shivase. Deputy Chairperson Mr. Matsepe Ivo Pasha and members Tandera Tembengile Celiwe Hlongwa, Boxing Philemon Sebola, Ndale Harold Matsepe, Mankone Mabataung Nzaba, Miss L. Malamba, Miss Josephine Mamperi Lenswale, Miss Mahetsi Annabelle Mpahlele. Advocate J.B. Skosane has been appointed the Deputy Director General for Court Services in the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, and Miss G.B. Lafoy has been appointed Deputy Director General for Constitutional Development in the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Can we start with Pretoria for questions? Peliswa?
Yes, we have a question from Power.
Tahila Nisilo from Power FM. Just on the retirement reforms that have been postponed, have you had any interaction with business yet? Because I imagine there'll be some complaints around that. Thank you.
That should be all for now.
Manelis, you were the first one. I think it was Marian and then you.
Thank you very much. On the same question, Minister, you say that the Cabinet debated and considered the full implications of this Taxation Laws Amendment Act. To the best of your knowledge, do you know if the President was present when you debated and considered the full implication of this law, in the light of the fact that last week he was quoted saying that he signed it without understanding its implications? And secondly, will it be fair for us to assume that similar laws of this nature, which would be signed by the President, would be provisional until COSATU rubber stamp them?
Hi, Marianne Merton, Daily Maverick. A follow-up on this. Could we please have your comment? Basically, the President and the governing ANC seems to have given in to outside political pressures in making laws of this country. Your comments and your position on that. Also, are you confident the National Legislature, this Parliament, will be able to do the necessary amendment legislation that is now urgently required within the week that is available. Thank you.
Thanks. Gay Davis, Eyewitness News. Minister, you're facing a barrage of questions on this particular issue this morning. As a follow-up to all the follow-ups, COSATU's president has said that it doesn't matter. You can put this bill on the shelf for 2 years, and it doesn't matter. They don't accept that. They've dismissed that proposal. You're rushing this amendment into Parliament. Is it going to be worth it? Because COSATU says they're going ahead with their strike, notwithstanding the amendment. Thanks. Sorry, just as an adjoinder, what does this process actually say about NEDLAC? There have been complaints in the past that NEDLAC has become very juniorized and has lost its weight and its heft as the vehicle that it was meant to be, to get a proper binding and lasting consensus between government, business, labour and the community on issues like this. I mean, ultimately, is this not a failure of the NEDLAC process? Thanks.
Thank you, Minister. Further on that matter, is it common for the President to sign bills that he doesn't understand? And if so, what does that say about the capacity of our state? And secondly, Minister, is there any important discussion in Cabinet that you left out? I am asking this because of what happened in December, where we had a briefing only to hear later on that Cabinet had agreed to the nuclear new build provisions. What is the point of these briefings if they are censored so strongly?
Minister, now for something completely different. What is the present age of criminal capacity, and under this new regime, will it go up or down?
I think we'll take those hands for now.
On the first question from Pretoria, whether business was consulted on this process of amendment, the Minister of Finance had a meeting on Monday in Pretoria within the auspices of NEDLAC, of which business was also represented. Our understanding of that meeting is that there is a general consensus on the deferment of the implementation date of the 1st of March. This is a post-cabinet briefing from Cape Town, and the President is the one who chairs the meeting of Cabinet, so he was present at the meeting yesterday. Government is not, COSATU does not have to rubber stamp decisions of Cabinet. The reason for this amendment that is being put forward is that they have raised concern about the process of consultation. There had been consultation, but it does appear that the consultation was not effective. Will Parliament urgently deal with this matter? Our understanding that it is possible to do it within the next few weeks before the 1st of March. COSATU going ahead with the strike. Yes, indeed, government has received the Section 77 notice from COSATU, from AMCU, as well as from NUMSA. So our Constitution allows for people to demonstrate whenever they feel aggrieved for one thing or the other. So that's the reflection of the robustness of our constitutional democracy. The President did not say that he did not understand the Act. He said that it was not brought to his attention at the time he assented to the bill as an act that there were challenges in terms of consent about the lack of effective consultation. every post-cabinet briefing, we do give information of what are the major decisions of cabinet. The reason at the post-cabinet briefing on the 14th of December why the issue of nuclear was not mentioned at that time, it was because the Minister of Energy and the Director General were supposed to have a special briefing to brief the media on that. That decision of the going ahead of the RFP had been taken at the meeting of the Cabinet on the 9th of December. On the age of criminal capacity, there are still ongoing discussions, especially with social development, but it does look like the age of 12 is being spoken about. On NEDLAC, I think the appropriate person to answer your question will be the line function Minister of Economic Development to make an assessment about NEDLAC.
Thank you. Is there one more question in Pretoria, or I can take here?
Yes.
Tahila?
Taylor.
Thank you. Tahila again from Power FM. Minister, yesterday we heard from the Minister of Energy, Tina Joemat-Peterson, saying that nuclear energy is inevitable. However, the President and the Minister of Finance have both said that it's only something we'll do if we can afford it. So which is it? Thank you.
Is that all, Peliswa? Okay.
That's all.
Thank you. I think you were the first.
Lula Mamaja from the SABC. Minister, I just want to get you correctly. If I hear you correctly, you're saying these amendments is to allow for consultation because the feeling is that there was lack of consultation. Are you saying it's only, now I want to get you correctly, are you saying this is only about consultation and not the concerns that have been raised? It has nothing to do with the concerns that has been raised by workers?
I think they don't confuse me now. I think, Yan, you've spoken. Let me go around back again, right at the back.
Okay, Minister Joseph Musia from SABC also. On the issue of the bill of the act, sorry, I want to understand clearly. You are actually saying COSATU's objections and the fact that they have actually threatened the ANC's electability in the municipal elections did not influence cabinet or government in terms of making this decision, because it's not clear to me in terms of how you engage with this issue. Did COSATU's threats about elections play a role?
Marianne?
Hi, just a quick follow-up. The question with regards to political pressures from outside, particularly tripartite lines, undermining the governing ANC's lawmaking and governance capacity wasn't quite answered. The other issue for clarification is the following. COSATU President Stumo Dlamini has been on public record that he and the President had a meeting at which he appraised the President around some of the issues regarding consultation, regarding some of the ideological issues as well, regarding this particular act. Regardless, again, the COSATU President is on public record saying that he had been given assurances by the President following the meeting that there'll be a further process unfolding. It was with great surprise, and if you look at the COSATU statement, seemingly a certain level of anger in the beginning of January, that when it emerged that the law had been signed onto our statute books. So I'm not quite clear on your statement earlier, and perhaps you can clarify the sequencing of that. Thank you.
Manilis, and then we'll come now.
Minister, I will stay with this question, me too. You say that the President was actually not briefed about the concerns regarding this bill before he signed it. I get a feeling that the Treasury had actually not only failed to brief the people generally about this bill, they even failed to brief even the President and the Cabinet about this.
Ian?
Thank you. I'll follow my colleague Wyndham Python and ask on something different. Drought. Sir, you said that Cabinet is very grateful to those South Africans in the commercial agricultural sector and the private citizens for helping out in the drought, and I'm sure that's lovely. But what is government doing, and is it true that there's no drought relief because of the fact that government has exhausted the contingency reserve to pay the public sector salaries? I've asked this question many, many times. It never gets answered. Now, the second thing on these, on page 2, you refer to the renewable energy development zones. Do we have any idea how that process will unfold and where these are supposed to be created?
Okay.
Thanks very much. Also on something slightly different. Minister, I understand that Cabinet has discussed the costs of 2 centres of government. I know the Treasury was asked to do a scope on the costs of having the 2, Pretoria and Cape Town. Can you tell us when that discussion took place? It preceded the State of the Nation address. And can you tell us whether we can have access to Treasury's findings in terms of the actual costs? Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mkhwanazi, I think I forgot you.
Siyabonga Mkhwanazi from Independent Newspapers. Just one question, Minister. On SAA, was SAA discussed by Cabinet in relation to particularly its request for a 5 billion guarantee so that it will be able to complete its financial statements? Because, it was supposed to submit the annual report last year. There's been delays and there are serious problems at SA. Was that discussed or any other issues related to the airline? Thanks.
Okay, I think these are the last 2 questions.
Minister, there seems to be a lot of smoke and mirrors around this annuitization provision because it was included in a law in 2013 for implementation on the 1st of March 2013 for implementation on the 1st of March 2015. COSATU opposed, so then it was delayed for a year to 2016. So both COSATU and government have known about each other's objections for 3 years. So, Treasury decided to go ahead in the face of that opposition. Government knew about it. COSATU's made clear its views from day one. So, I don't think we're getting the true story from either side. Thanks.
Minister, thanks. If you could just provide an update with the ICC negotiations, please. Has government's position changed vis-a-vis the possibility of leaving the ICC? Have you guys met with them? The last time you spoke on the matter, you raised the serious, complex legal matters that needed to be addressed. Are you still challenging those matters? What is the current status quo with regards to that, please? Thanks.
Thank you. On the issue of the nuclear bill, in the State of the Nation address, the President made very clear the approach of government, that the scale and pace, that those are the key words, that the issue of the RFP that's going to be issued will determine the cost, and on that basis, the discussion going forward will be taken. But in principle, government has made its policy, as well as the ruling party, that our energy policy is one of energy mix, including nuclear. And that in terms of the plan, we want to put about 9,600 megawatts of electricity out of nuclear. So the determination would therefore be determined by the results of the RFP. Again, on taxation, looks like a very popular topic. Let me repeat. Cabinet yesterday took a decision that we are going to be putting an amendment act to defer the implementation of this Taxation Amendment Act, based largely on the lack of effective consultation. During the period, there will be consultations between government and all those organizations that have raised concern. We should also not create the impression that is only COSATU. Also, some sections of business have also raised concern. COSATU threat, I'm not aware of a COSATU threat to withdraw their election support based on this act. I'm not aware of that. We don't take decision based on threats as an ANC government. But when concerns are being raised to government, we cannot remain unmoved. It is for that reason that we want to defer the implementation of this act so that proper and effective consultation can ensue. I'm not privy to the discussion that the President had with the President of COSATU, Dlamini, what they discuss about, but I'm under the impression that they discuss about the issue of this Taxation Amendment Act. The President asked me to also to facilitate between National Treasury and affected parties in order to resolve this matter. So that's how my understanding this issue has sequenced. That is why I explained to you that as early as on Monday, the Minister of Finance, within the auspices of NETLEC, discussed with various stakeholders. I myself previously, last week, I had a discussion with the leadership of COSATU to get a better understanding of the detail of their concern. What I said about the issue between National Treasury and government, the President, I want to reiterate, when he signed this to law, he was not aware that there's been this concern from COSATU because it was brought after he had signed it. On the issue of drought, I think let's wait for the Minister of Finance budget on the 24th. But I'm sure there will be something said about the issue of drought relief, even if not in detail. But there's just no way that government cannot do anything about it. On the issue of renewable development zones, I think further details will come from Minister of Energy, Tuma Jonat. On the issue of South African Airways, yesterday we did not discuss the issue of South African Airways, but my understanding that there are discussions between National Treasury and South African Airways to deal with all the gamut of issues that relate to this national airline. The cost of 2 centers of government. The President indicated that Parliament has to resolve this matter. As you know, that it is in the Constitution that the seat of Parliament is in Cape Town. So the appropriate forum for it is Cape Town. But it is true that government over a number of years has been discussing this matter because of its concern of the cost of maintaining 2 capitals. Many studies that have happened since 1994, of which I was part of the first committee, it conclusively concluded that the cost of maintaining 2 capitals is too high. South Africa would be better served with having 1 capital. Currently, the research is led by the Minister of Public Works. So I think Minister of Public Works can be able to bring more insight into that. On the ICC, since our last briefing, which was held here, I think around about June last year, our position has not yet changed, but our government is going to be finalizing our approach on the ICC, I suspect, in the next cabinet meeting because the matters are urgent. I think that's where it ends.
think we've come to the end of this briefing, and can I use this opportunity also to make the commitment? Just before we went on holiday, there was a request for the Minister to meet with the Parliamentary Press Gallery. We are arranging that meeting. We're just coordinating the diaries, and that meeting will still take place as promised. Thank you.